guys ready for some more awkwardness?
Yeah.
Am I in front of this fucking pillar again? I can't fucking tell. Alright. This fucking place. Alright. So, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Monday was Labor Day, and I read that the #1 Labor Day song is Take This Job and Shove It. You guys know that song?
Yeah.
Take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no more. Which makes sense, because we're all living lives of quiet desperation, not really doing what we want to do for a living. Am I right? Is that? Yeah. Come on, be real about it. Yeah. Maybe Heidi and Michael, they're doing pretty well. So, but they probably have a little bit of fuck you money. Am I right? Yeah, most people don't have fuck you money. I have, I better shut the fuck up and keep my day job, or my family's gonna be without housing money. That's the kind of money I have. But it's all right, you know. I'm doing it for the billionaires. I want to make sure that they have more money than they could ever spend in their entire lifetime, or their children could spend, or their grandchildren or great-grandchildren. Is this a little too close? Is this a little too real? Now, I'm going to shit all over myself in a second, so you can relax. Release those assholes a little bit, all right?
Oh my.
So the universe doesn't want what I want, because I'm blind, deaf, and dumb. And recently, my wife and I went to Burbank for a vacation and stayed at the Ramada Inn because we don't have Beverly Hills fuck you money. And the reason we went is my wife had breast cancer 8 years ago, and she had a double mastectomy, and she had a breast reconstruction. And so she hadn't seen a lot of her friends, and I wanted her to meet some of my friends, and she wanted me to meet some of her friends. And I met one of her friends, her friend Amber. And Amber, the only thing I know about Amber is that when my wife met her, she met her at a party, and Amber was making out with dudes, women, the furniture, and she was wearing a fishnet top, and she had huge double D tits. And she went up to my wife and like, I'm gonna fuck the shit out of you. And so this is the only thing I know about Amber. So Amber comes over to the Ramada Inn to have a swim with my wife. And they come in, I meet Amber, she's lovely, and my wife and her start talking. And I'm just laying in the bed listening to them talk. And then after like 10 minutes, my wife's like, we're gonna go swimming. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's great. Well, have fun. And I'm laying there, and I just realized that they changed right in front of me. They were naked in front of me. And I'm like, what the fuck? So then I go, I'm like, what the fuck happened? And then they come back, and they start talking, and they're having the same kind of conversation. And then my wife says, hey, you haven't seen my boobs, my fake boobs, since I had my surgery. Do you want to see them, Amber? And she's like, yeah. And my wife goes, all right, here they are. These are big, double D, teardrop shaped boobs. And Amber's like, oh, wow, those are gorgeous. And so, like, my wife goes, do you want to touch them? And Amber's like, yeah. She's like, oh, these feel so fucking good. Do you want to feel mine? And I'm like, what the fuck? Now, I'm frustrated, not because for what you think, all right? I love my wife. I don't want to bring a third person into the marriage and fuck it up. I'm very satisfied. That's not why I'm frustrated, but I'm going to tell you another story. The following day, we go to my friend's house, Brian. He's a musician, and he has a house in the Hollywood Hills. And apparently, I didn't know this, but he has a wife that she's from Mexico, and she's an actress, and apparently she's gorgeous. And I hadn't met her, but I would know she's fucking gorgeous. And so we're sitting around talking, and out of nowhere, my friend's wife goes, I have fake tits like you do at a dinner party. Does anybody want to see them? And everybody's like, yeah! And I'm like, yeah! Fucking great, yeah. And everybody's like, wow, those are so fucking hot. I'm like, yeah, they're so fucking hot. So I'm really frustrated, but it's not for the reason you think. I'm frustrated because I used to be able to see. In my 20s and 30s, I had pretty much 20/20 vision. But let me go back a little bit. When I was in my late teens and early 20s, I went to a school called CalArts, which is a clothing optional school. Okay? And I could see perfectly. And not once did any women take off their clothing in front of me. Not fucking once. And I could see fine. 3 dudes did get in a hot tub with me and asked to fuck me. But, well, I fucked them, but you know, you gotta experiment a little bit, right?
It's not gay if it's art school.
And so, the universe does not want what I fucking want. It's stressful. I mean, it's so stressful. My day job, an emergency preparedness coordinator. Michael called me a blind theater faggot when I walked in here tonight. You know, it's stressful. I have these stress knots in my back, right? I got these balls. And the other evening, I'm rubbing my knot in my back. And my wife's doing something. She's laying in bed. And I look over at her and I go, what are you doing over there? And she's like, I'm using a mindfulness app on my phone. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, well, it's like a little ball, an animated ball that has bumps all over it. And it's sad. And it's called a flibberty gibbet. And you gotta rub the bumps out so they're smooth, and then he becomes happy, and then I become decompressed and less stressed. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Do you realize that I worked 12-hour days, 10 days in a row, 3 times this last year, and I have fucking stress bumps that are cancerous on my back, and you're rubbing a flibberty gibbet on your phone? Can't you just rub me out a little bit? And well, she didn't rub me out, obviously. She was like, ugh. Like you know, and it's ridiculous, you know. But it's my own fault. You know, I was an actor at one point, and I think of things in dramatic ways. I want to create the most conflict, and I do this subconsciously. I don't even think about it. I just think about how do I create the most conflict in a situation, and that's how I perceive things. My wife says that I'm the opposite of a pep talk because I think of the worst case scenario for fucking everything, right? And so, like a month ago, I walk in the house after working out, and my wife comes up to hug me, and I go, sweetheart, I stink, I don't smell good, you don't want to hug me. And she goes, that's how I like them. Them? That's how you like them. So, plural, a bunch of sweaty dudes. Biker dudes you want. Okay, a bunch of sweaty guys. I get it. So I'm like, why do you have to bring all of sweaty, stinky mankind into it? Why can't you just say, I like you, sweaty Brian Maxfield Snyder. I like you. But, well, I'm the asshole here. That's the thing. The problem is, it's how I perceive things. Most people would slough this shit off and not think about it. Go and just take the hug, but I didn't. She walked away pissed off because I'm an asshole. So the next thing, a few days later, my wife's son and I are watching a Disney movie because it's family movie night. And it's just noise. It's like, and I'm just like, I'm zoning out because I can't see shit. And my wife and I had a side conversation about polyamory and cheating, as you do watching a Disney movie. And my wife says to me, don't get any ideas, but if you slept with another woman, I probably wouldn't divorce you. And I didn't think anything of it at the time. But for weeks I stewed on this. I'm like, what the fuck did she mean? What are you talking about? Is this like is this like a gateway so that she gives me permission and therefore she has permission to have sex with a bunch of sweaty dudes and get gangbanged? Is that what's going on here? But it's so fucking confusing. I don't know what to do because I'm like, okay, I bet most of you are thinking, well, you know what, Brian? She loves you and she just wants to let you know if you make a mistake in the marriage, it'll be all right. She'll forgive you, right? Is that what some of you are thinking?
It's a trap.
See, it's a trap. No, but it's confusing. I'll tell you why. Because my wife told me that she thinks Robert Downey Jr. is super hot.
Fuck yeah.
You know what I'm talking.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And she said specifically Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark in Iron Man. All right. So if you guys know,
Thank you.
you got
Brian,
an ally here.
take 4 steps back.
Okay.
I think.
Am I going to go into the pillar? Is that the
I don't know
problem?
what you're doing, but you're wandering off.
So, if you don't know who Tony Stark is, he's Iron Man, of course, but he's also an able-bodied billionaire arms dealer who's extremely hedonistic and materialistic. All right, he's over here, and then there's me, blind, deaf, OCD, dumb. I work in a nonprofit, which means I don't make any money, and I'm all about love, peace, and social justice.
Super hot.
Thank you, I appreciate it. And so, I don't understand what she's attracted to. I mean, I get it if she was attracted to Gandhi, right? I mean, I'm very close to Gandhi, right? So I say, why are you into Tony Stark? Are you having fantasies about being with an able-bodied billionaire? Is that it? She's like, no. It's his designer suits. He looks hot, you fucking idiot. And I'm like, you're right. I'm an idiot. And that's why the universe doesn't want what I want. But tonight, you know what she says to me? She said, you know what? I'm not going to go with another man. If I go for anybody, it's going to be another woman. And I'm like, I don't know how to feel about this. Either I should be offended because she's like, I'm so horrible that she's gonna I'm like the worst of mankind, so she's gonna go after women, or that she doesn't need another man because I fulfill all her needs. What is it, sweetheart?
That's the one.
All right, thank you, everybody.